developing a relationship with somebody who's usually new to Amos and to our work. And it was several months ago, I'm not exactly sure how many months ago, but we were, several of us here, Barbara Ruster Holtz, Andrea Hansen, myself, and a few others, were at a UWL campus ministry forum on immigration. And there was a speaker there who had come to La Crosse and had a wealth of information to share about world refugee and immigration populations in Africa and Asia and South America, and as well as here in the U.S. But there's also a gentleman there who had an apple orchard outside Galesville, and he spoke about having invested in housing for his migrant workers, the ones who came and picked the crop each year, and how policies had changed in the next year after investing in the housing. It wasn't possible to offer that housing. And we learned that as Tom spoke about his own experience, that he was somebody who was very honest, very cared about the people working for him. And that would have been enough, I think, to find somebody in the business world who was upholding social justice values, implementing the best possible employment practices. But as I got to know Tom, I learned that there was a little bit more to the story. Tom had started out as a mechanical engineer, graduating from the University of Minnesota. He worked for 3M and rose successfully through the ranks in becoming a plant manager and moved about the country. He had experienced success in his work, and he had a very bright future in front of him. But as a young man, he had also known that what he really wanted to do was be a farmer. And after he started working for 3M, he also still knew that he really wanted to be a farmer. And one day when, several years into his career, he and his wife and their grown children, Jill was looking for college, and they came to La Crosse, and they, Deb, Tom's wife, saw an ad in a real estate pamphlet of an orchard for sale. And, well, Tom went back home, submitted his resignation, and they bought an orchard and moved to Galesville. I think it would be good enough to recognize somebody for following their calling, for living out their faith values, and for deciding that all the world's goods wasn't good enough if you weren't living out your calling. But there's a little bit more to the story as well. And I found out that after I visited with Tom at the orchard that he said, well, do you want to really know what I do? And I said, well, you're a farmer. He said, no, that's not really what I do. You should come here when the school kids are here. And then I remembered back to shortly after my wife and I moved to Sparta, we had taken our children to an orchard, and they had played on some straw and haystacks, and we had picked apples in the orchard. And as I was listening to Tom talk about how he has 3,000 to 4,000 kids every year come through the orchard and learn about where food comes from, it's not really, raising apples is only part of the work. Teaching about where food comes from is a bigger, more important part of the work. And he does that despite the business really being about wholesale apple sales rather than, but it's an outreach to the community. It's about caring about how we as a community raise our young. So I am very pleased to present the Seeds of Justice Award to our own Johnny Appleseed, Tom Ferguson. This plaque reads, the 2013 Amos Seeds of Justice Award is presented to Tom Ferguson in recognition of outstanding employment practices and educational outreach, building a more compassionate, healthy, and just community.
Everybody's making me blush. Thank you very much, Curtis. It was such nice words. I want to thank Amos as well. It's not often that you feel like you're getting recognized for following the golden rule. But that's basically what I really try to do. I have the opportunity to be able to interact with a lot of people every year from a lot of different countries too, not just our own children here from the local area, but by virtue of what we do running the Apple Orchard, I have employees that are from a lot of different countries, and the opportunity to be able to interact with them and help them as well, to teach them about what it can be like to live in this country just by following the golden rule. So I really appreciate being recognized for that. I do want to, I know we're running a little bit late on time here, but I do want to say a couple of things. I had the opportunity to grow up in a family that opened its house, and parents who opened their arms to foster children. And so as I was growing up, I literally had what seemed like hundreds of brothers and sisters. I'm sure it wasn't that many, but it sure seems like it. And my parents were the most generous people ever. And by growing up that way, that taught me more about respect and the golden rule than anything. So just having the opportunity to get up here and say thank you to everyone, I really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, we've reached the end of the program. We have one more song that the band has invited us to sing along with. So I think maybe you better stand up if you're going to sing.